Welcome back to part 6 of Prophecies of the Messiah. Jacob prepares meeting with Esau. The foundational scriptures for this video are Genesis chapters 32 and 33. This will be a short video. In it are a lot of gems that need contemplation. Additional references are provided from the Strong's Concordance that define the meaning of the specific words to aid you in understanding. They will be labeled on the video. After Laban blessed his sons and daughters, he went home. Jacob began his journey back to his homeland. On the way, angels of God met him. In great awe, Jacob proclaimed that they were God's host, and he named it Mahanaim, or double camp, for the angelic host and his own group. From there, Jacob sent messengers to tell Esau that he was coming and that his company was great. The messengers returned with a message that Esau would bring 400 of his own men to meet him. Genesis 32, 1-6. As a side note, it's not clear whether these messengers were some of the angels or if they were Jacob's own human servants. However, the word messenger or Malek in Genesis 32:3, it can be interpreted as messenger, an angel of God, ambassador, prophet, priest, teacher, or king. It is possible that the angels that met him took orders from Jacob to go before him. However, it is more than likely that Jacob sent a couple of his servants and angels accompanied them. In distress, Jacob split his camp into 2 camps, and one would go before the other. If the company of Esau fell upon one, then the other would make an escape. Jacob, in humility, prayed to God. He said that he was not worthy of God's mercies and all the truth that was shown to him. He continued to pray for God's deliverance from the wrath of Esau. Jacob reminded God of his promise to multiply his seed beyond numbering. Genesis 32, 8-12. Before crossing the river Jordan, he rested the night. In the morning, he prepared gifts for Esau of his own wealth to aid in softening his heart. They were 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 cows and 20 bulls, 30 female camels and 40 colts, 10 male camels also, 20 female mules and 10 foals. He sent messengers with 4 droves and told them to put a space between each drove. When Esau asked where they came from and who they belonged to, the messengers were to tell him that they came from Jacob, who was behind them, and that these were gifts to Esau upon returning. Genesis 32, 13-21. That evening, Jacob, his 2 wives and concubines, and his 11 sons passed over the ford called Jabbok. Then he sent all of them and his remaining possessions over the brook, leaving Jacob alone. A man attacked him and wrestled with him all night until dawn. Jacob pinned him and would not let him go. The man touched his thigh during the match, and the muscle shrank, causing the hip to be disjointed. The man demanded that Jacob let him go, but Jacob demanded a blessing. The man said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, heel catcher, but Israel, he will rule as God. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. Jacob asked him his name. Sarcastically, the man responded, and I paraphrase, Why do you ask for my name? In other words, he was saying, figure it out. Jacob thought about it after he left and named the place where they wrestled Peniel. which means face of God, because he saw God face to face and lived. Genesis 32:22-32. From that day, Jacob had to use a crutch. This compound word is derived from two root words, panah, meaning to face, and el, meaning God. Symbolically, the muscle around the hollow of the thigh of animals is not eaten in remembrance of this wrestling match. There are many thoughts about this man. One is that he was an angel. Another is that he was God. A process of elimination in context with the beginning of the chapter would determine that he was not a man. He was not an angel either. Jacob had indeed wrestled with God, who took human form. After the wrestling match, Esau met Jacob. He accepted the gifts and offered to leave some of his men behind for protection. Jacob refused the offer, and Esau left for Seir. Jacob traveled to a place that he called Sukkot because he built booths for his cattle there, and then went to Shalem in Shechem, which was in Canaan. He bought a field from Shechem's father, Hamor, for 100 pieces of money, and built an altar, naming it El Elohe Israel, meaning the mighty God of Israel. In part 4, Jacob and Esau, in Genesis 25:21-26, the Lord told Rebekah that she had two nations fighting in her womb, and that one would be stronger and the older would serve the younger. Though she gave birth to twins, Esau was the older brother because he was the firstborn. He was the stronger nation, but he would serve his younger brother Jacob. Upon Isaac dispensing the blessing of the firstborn, Rebekah, having this knowledge shared with her by God, Rebekah aided Jacob in obtaining the blessing of the firstborn rather than Esau. For fear that Esau would kill him, Isaac and Rebekah sent him to Mesopotamia to live with Rebekah's brother Laban and to seek a wife from his daughters. After 20 years of labor, Jacob returned to his homeland wealthy to take his place as the third patriarch of Israel. Esau served Jacob in Canaan for a time, but both grew too large to dwell together. Esau took his wives, kids, and everything he had to live in Mount Seir and created the nation of Edom. So all that the Lord told Rebekah while she was pregnant had come to pass. God is faithful in keeping his promises. From Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, God appeared to all of them and made them the same promise, that their posterity would be beyond number as they continued to walk before the Lord. In Jeremiah 29:11-13, God says, "For I know the thoughts I think towards you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Then shall you call upon me, and you shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And ye shall seek me, and find me, when ye shall search for me with all your heart." Though it was written through Jeremiah to the kingdom of Judah, the same could be said of you, that he has thoughts of peace for you, and not evil. If you earnestly seek him with your heart, you will find him. In Romans 5:10, it says, "For if when we were enemies we were reconciled to God by the death of his Son, much more, being reconciled, we shall be saved by his life." Accept Jesus Christ today, because tomorrow might be too late. Thank you.